guys, my name is Leah Grant. I'm here with Pure Movement Pilates, and today we're going to go through a weighted upper arm series. So I've got 1 pound Bala Bangles, and I'm going to bring them around my wrist. Okay, so we're going to come up to a tabletop position. So in this tabletop position, let's just start by warming up our spine a little bit. If kneeling is a little uncomfortable for you, you can always double up on your mat. Give yourself a little bit more cushion. So with the hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, let's just move through a little cat-cow. Notice real quick the cat-cow, we don't dump everything down into our back. What I want you to think a little bit is like you're turning the line of your chest up to get a stretch from your chin to your tailbone. And then exhale, flex, lifting the layers of abdominals. Maybe a little push down into those arms to think of tucking the pelvis. Don't just overextend and press open the back. Think of lifting the layers. And then gently shift back through center. Again, try not to dump into the low back, but feel like you're lifting the line of your chest towards the wall in front of you. Just a little back and forth. You can start to move with a little bit more pace if that feels good. Really kind of starting to explore your range of motion today. Maybe, if you'd like, you can even start to move through a circle. So you're shifting now a little bit left and right as well. Last one. Let's go ahead and switch that direction, making sure that you think of both sides of your rib wall. Opening up, front, back, top, bottom, left to right. And then bring everything back through center. So I'd like you to try to find your neutral spine. So think a little bit like if your body were like a suitcase or a briefcase sitting down onto the floor, then the handle of this suitcase is about right in the middle of your back, kind of right between the shoulder blades. What I want you to picture is somebody's going to grab that handle and pull you up off the floor. Right? So think a little bit like you are lifting yourself up out of your arms, out of your hips, so that your abdominal wall is pulling up and the spine is long as though it's a strong, straight stick, right? From here, let's go ahead and just point the left hand out to the side and then bring it back underneath you. Right arm goes out and then back underneath you. What I'd like you to focus on is that as you bring the weight off of that arm and point it to the side, you're not shifting back and forth in your rib wall, right? So keep pulling up through the middle of your back as you're pressing and pointing out with the arm. Now let's switch it and go in front. Keep lifting. I'm looking towards the top of my mat, so careful that your head doesn't droop, right? Pick it up. Think your spine is very long. Just that little tap, and then pull it back. So you're shifting a little bit in the weight, but we want to be careful that our body doesn't shift and try to compensate. Let's go ahead and finish that last one. We're going to start to add on just a little bit. Left arm is going to open out. The whole left arm is going to lift and tap, and lift and tap. Now here again is where we have a little bit more movement, which might make it harder for the right side of our body. Keep pulling the sides of your waist in and up, sort of like you're wearing a corset, right? Last 4, so think of a tight belt that's sort of cinching your waist. 3, give me 2, wrap those shoulders back and down. Last 1, both hands come back down, right arm opens out, lift the layers. We've got 10, 9, notice if you accidentally shifted your weight. Pull up through the left side of your body. So we don't want to lean to the left, we want to pull up. Think of that suitcase, right? Or the briefcase, whatever you want, wrapping your left shoulder back and down. Careful it doesn't go into your ear, right? We've got last 1, all the way down, switching it to in front, right? Reaching away on a diagonal. 10, 9, 8, 7, keep pulling up. 6, 5, 4, last 3, give me 2, lift the layers, last 1, all the way down, reconnect with your middle, right arm reaches, 10, wrap the left shoulder back and down, lift the layers of abdominals, hold through that strong straight center. Your spine is a long pull, like a dowel rod, like a flagpole, right? Pull up through the layers of abdominals, last 2, and last 1. Both hands come down. Woo, let's shift the weight back for a moment and move into a little bit of a stretch. So those arms are going to reach forward. Let's tuck the wheel of our pelvis. Breathing, wrapping the shoulders. Tucking the layers of abdominals. Woo. Gently, let's wave through the spine, shifting your weight all the way forward. We're going to lay ourselves all the way down onto the mat. So before we move too much into the upper body, let's look at the low back just a little bit real quick. So you can make a pillow with your hands, rest your forehead on the pillow, and notice what's happening in your low back. Right away, if you try to bring your legs to parallel, do you have a little pain or discomfort in your low back? You might be more comfortable in a little bit more of an external rotation. Just depends on everybody's leg alignment and where we feel tight. So for me, I'm going to try to hold into a parallel, but of course you can kind of find a different setup. And in this position, what I want you to visualize a little bit is like you're going to pull the navel away from the mat underneath you, just a little bit, and then let's let it go. Exhale, pull the navel away, just a little bit. Another cue that might be helpful is that you're going to tuck the wheel of your pelvis just a little bit, and then let that relax. So picture a little bit like you're going to, if you were afraid little dog, you're going to tuck your tail between your legs, just a little bit, and then soften. Last one, let's tuck the wheel of our pelvis, lift the layers of abdominals, and soften there. Now from here, I'd like you to float your head off of your hands so that you are kind of looking down at the mat. And we're going to open our arms out to cactus pose beside us. So your head is in line with your spine. Careful it doesn't start to droop or that you don't pinch by looking up towards the wall in front of you. I want you to think you've pulled it back. Tuck the wheel of your pelvis. Think again like you're tucking your tail between your legs. And from here, just the arms are going to float up off the floor and then tap it back down. Notice that when you bring those arms up, you may accidentally pop the booty back and dump into the low back. I want you to keep a sense of tuck, tuck, tuck. Keep lifting the navel. We've got 4 more here. Lifting the navel, lifting the navel. Last 2. Almost there. Last 1. Those arms are going to stay lifted. From here, what I'd like you to do is lift the head, neck, and chest and think of looking up to the top of your mat and then bringing it back to parallel. Keep the tuck. Now, my legs are in parallel, and they're starting to work a little bit, right? So the higher I move into my extension, the more I feel the legs as a counterweight, trying to squeeze and balance. Let's do 4 more. You're not kicking this into your low back. We're trying to articulate through our middle back, upper back, think rib wall. Last 2. Almost there. Last 1. Lifting, 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 and then soften everything down. You can listen to the mat with one ear and let it breathe a little bit. So now what I'd like you to do is bring the hands down along beside you. The palms are facing in, the thumbs are down onto the mat. We're going to again turn our head to look down, lift the head, neck, and chest just a little bit, tuck the wheel of your pelvis, think lift the layers of abdominals. And now I want you to push the pinky side of your hand up to the wall, or the ceiling above you. So think sort of like your body is like a rocket, right? Or like a torpedo. Think strong, straight limbs reaching behind you, or like you're flying, right? Legs are a little active. Tuck the wheel of your pelvis. We've got 4. Last 3. Give me 2. Last 1, I'd like you to lift the arms and hold. Stay lifted for me. Start to circle the arms forward and then pull it back. Tuck the wheel of your pelvis. Notice what happens as the hands go up overhead. You may feel a little bit more load into your low back. Careful that you don't dump. Keep pulling up. We've got twice more here. I'm going to take an inhale as I circle and exhale. Think of flying, right? Reaching. And last one. Exhale. Reaching. Good. And soften everything down. Let it breathe. Let's stretch our low back just a little bit. Hands press down into the mat, shifting your weight back. Tuck the knees underneath you. Walk it back. Let it breathe. Tuck the wheel of your pelvis just a little bit. Now, if your low back really started to fire up there, we may want to work a little bit on strengthening those abs before you add weight. You can always leave the weight off and do the whole series without the Bala Bangles or any kind of a wrist weight. I'm going to press into my hands just a little bit so that I can feel like I'm pushing down into the mat to shift my weight back just a little bit more towards my heels. Finding a deeper tucked sensation and a little bit more stretch for the low back. Wrapping those shoulders back and down. Gently, if it's available to you, you're going to sit back onto those heels. You're going to think of articulating your spine one vertebra at a time all the way up, rolling those shoulders back and down. If it feels good, you can even interlace your fingertips, start to lift through the heart a little bit, keeping your pecs open. Letting it breathe. Gently, we're going to roll off of those heels, turning to face towards each other. We'll go ahead and take off the Bala Bangles, moving into just a little bit of a stretch for our arms. You can set those out of the way. All right, so we're going to move into a thread the kneel. So kneeling, if that's still okay for you, right? Again, always double up on the mat. So I'm going to start with my right arm. So just a little bit of a push into the left, stretching that right arm up. Oof. As I come down, I'm going to thread the right arm underneath. I'm going to listen to the mat with my right ear. And I'm going to pop and let the booty go up. Right, so it's also a kind of a nice stretch for between your sits bones. Reaching that right arm long. If you want to start to make it active, maybe you just float over the mats so that you can shift your body weight back a little bit. I'm getting a deeper stretch here through my low back and the ribs. Then when I shift forward, I'm feeling it a little bit more into my shoulder. And I think I'm going to do that just once more. Try to breathe. Just kind of let the body go for a moment. Bringing the right ear back down onto the ground. I'm just going to hold and just kind of let the body stretch open. Starting to push into your left hand, carefully bringing yourself back up. Whew, a little lopsided, but we're going to even ourselves out. Left arm is going to stretch up. And then we're going to reach the left arm underneath, as though you're laying yourself down onto the left side of your body. You can stay here, or if you want to float your head and shoulder to shift your body weight back, you might feel the stretch differently in the left side of your body. Try to send the breath back into your left rib wall. That might help deepen the stretch. Wherever you're at, if you'd like to hold and just let the body adjust, kind of feeling the way that it's starting to relax and open up. Then exhale, push into your right hand, lift the layers of abdominals, gently start to bring yourself up. Whew, shifting the weight back onto the knees, swinging the body to one side. We'll close, just coming into a comfortable seated position, whatever works best for you. Rolling those shoulders back and down, lifting the light of your chest. Thank you so much. That's class.